Welcome to the Dink and Dish podcast. My name is Barbara Brodowski. I'm here with fitness legend icon Tammy Lee Webb. We are two pickleball enthusiasts and fitness experts. And I always want to stress the pickleball enthusiast because if you ask me how to do a good backhand, I won't be able to help you. I'm so sorry. Might get it over the net.
But you could recommend a really good bicep curl
Exactly.
extension.
I can help you work on the muscles that help that you
Yeah.
execute that. So we are fitness experts who have spent our entire careers in fitness. And the most important thing we want you to remember, and it's picking up traction, is dinking is
Is
not a
not a
warm up.
warm up.
I on the kitchen. I follow the kitchen on Instagram. Do you follow their page?
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
them. They had a huge study that came out about pickleball injuries,
Yeah.
and it was so much. It was fun. It was interesting reading the comments because there was like two groups, and one group was like, "Oh, so sit on the couch and do nothing then," and the others were like, "You're going to get hurt in anything. It's worth the risk." And then I'm the one that's like, "Just warm up properly." Yeah,
But
it's not that
that's the
hard.
problem. People don't understand what a warm up properly
Yep.
is.
And dinking is not a warm up.
Um,
Yeah. So when I was reading the comments, it was so interesting. It went either one way, it went far one side, like, oh, but they should just be on the couch then and have heart disease. And the others were like, you get hurt doing anything. I'm like, whoa. We don't have to have any of those things happen.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, skip, hop, jump, lunge,
Yeah.
squat, do some ballistic stretching, do something to get the muscles prepared for what's to come. That's it. Prepare the
Yeah.
body for what's to come. And you did a great video. I love the warm-up video you did. It'll go up on our YouTube page and it's on our Instagram right now. It was so
Okay.
smart. And it was just those, I call them kind of ballistic stretches because they're not
Yeah.
passive. They're not passive,
No,
but
no,
they're just
no.
active
Just
stretches that just,
active stretches, range of motion,
yeah,
going in all the areas that you're going to be playing. And that's
yeah,
always, rotation, flexion,
yeah.
hyperextension. I mean, you just want to move all those limbs and get those joints moving.
You've got a really pretty practice swing too. I saw it. I was like,
Oh, thank
oh,
you.
she got good swing. I'm not like that. I wasn't a tennis player. I mean, I'm a hack. I can get it
Yeah.
over the net, but it's not as pretty as that at all.
Oh,
Um, so it's interesting. I was talking to some of my girlfriends about now I have a couple friends out with hamstring injuries, with a knee
mm,
injury. So every week, so I sent my
something.
friend Kim a message and said, hey, we need to hold it together. Like we have to have a solid group in our group that's not getting hurt
Yeah.
because
Or
it's
you or
just
you don't
happening.
have the people in your group to do what you
Yeah.
do.
And the
Yeah.
more we play, and we play 3 or 4 times a week, the more we play, the more likely we are to get injured if not taking care of the body properly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just do the proper warm up. We had a new place that's opening up. I think I talked about it before called the Pickler. Did I talk about
Yeah,
that?
I like that
Oh,
name, the
so
pickler.
cute. It's 11 indoor courts. And so all of my girlfriends and I signed up for the founding membership. So we're like founding members of the Pickler. And yesterday they had, and today they had, well, for a couple of days, but we went yesterday and today they had free clinics. And
Mhm.
it's funny because they really didn't do clinics with us. They just kind of gave us the court to play. And it's one of those sports courts. And when I ran a YMCA, we had sports courts in one of our rooms and they're really hard to play on. They're great to put over concrete to like show you where you're playing. But we
Mm.
did have a good time and it was fun to meet the owners and kind of get their vision for the place. And they're going to have like 2 championship courts and a mezzanine where you can go up top and watch the games happen, versus like my
Yeah,
husband will come watch me. He kind of just sits at the edge of the, like at courtside at the bar.
yeah.
But he'll be like, you'll be able to go up on top and go down, look down at what's happening. So I'm excited for that place to open.
I gotta get out there and see all that because I have not seen any of that here in San Diego.
Girl, you need
And
to
maybe
come
because
to
most of ours is
Texas.
outside.
Yeah, probably. And like I said, the
Yeah.
weather here, it was 91 degrees yesterday. We were dying when we were playing. And then today it's 56 and windy. And
Oh,
tomorrow's going to rain. Yeah. So like Texas has weird weather. So you really do need an indoor environment. I
yeah.
love playing outdoors, but this fair skin of mine does not appreciate the sun like it used to. Like I'm like
Yeah.
hiding in the shadow, like hiding against the wall, trying to stay out of the sun yesterday because what I don't need is any more skin cancer removed from my body
No,
at all.
no.
How was pickleball for you this week?
It was fun because, well, actually, yesterday I was asked to play with one of my neighbors to sub for her group of girls,
Uh huh.
and they're in the beginning stage,
Uh-huh.
and it was very windy.
Oh, the
That in
fifth player.
itself,
I call it the fifth player. The wind is the fifth player.
yes, and you don't know where the ball's going. It's wiffle, so it's going to go all over the place. But I was really trying to tone down my pickleball abilities.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Uh-huh.
going for, the slams or anything. I was just trying to be very
Yeah.
respectful. I'm the guest, right? And I played terrible for the first couple of games. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my
But you
God,
have to
really? I'm
change
not
up your
this
game.
bad.
No,
You have to change up your game.
yeah. When
Yeah.
I played with the ladies at my dad's house, my dad said, I've never seen you so many balls out. I'm like, because I don't want to hit it too hard and low. And I
Yeah.
just, you're not playing your game. But I love, there was
Right.
a video that went viral. When 5 people sent me the same video, I'm like, this video's gone viral. And it
Yeah.
was a video of the man. I think you sent it to me too, or on the Bosu, and he was hitting those 4 balls.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
everyone sent me that. Um, it was like, okay, super smart man. He's a pickleball coach. Obviously, he's a pro,
Yeah.
and I would love him because I can already tell he knows he knows all the things it's going to take. So he's
Right.
hitting those 4 balls, bouncing on Bosu, and he says, "Have a great week playing pickleball, and don't forget, be kind to the beginners." And
Yes.
I'm
And
like,
so I was trying to
yeah,
be
I
kind to the
know.
beginners. And what I realize is I'm trying to be kind. The wind is all over. And I'm like, okay, I have to adjust myself back to play my game. Just pull it back a little
Yeah,
bit. And it was really fun because they were very open to learn.
yeah.
One of the girls was serving sideways. So
Hmm.
she would toss the ball up and serve it sideways. And I said, if you're open, I'd like to share with you only because I don't want you to develop a bad habit because someday you're going to get called on it. You
Yep.
can't toss the ball up and you can't hit it from the side. It has to be below your waist.
Yeah.
And actually, she had a better serve that way
Yeah, I bet. Well, you think about it,
because,
it's gonna have
yes,
that little curve, that little bell curve.
yeah,
I was playing yesterday with a group after our league. I was subbed yesterday, so after the league was over, we got a court and just kind of played around and played around with a really good player. And so there's 5 courts. Court 1 is the best. Court 5 is the people trying to get to court 1.
uh,
And I think she played on court 1. She's a good player, but her serve was 100% illegal. It was above the waist.
yeah.
It was above the waist. And so I finally I turned around to my girlfriend Arden. I said, "Hey, Arden, I don't think that sub is legal." And she's like, "She plays all the time with the club pro." I'm like, "I don't know what I don't know, but I know it was like
Yeah,
seriously at her. It was above her waist, and
yeah,
it was weird." And I thought, no one's. But see, I think sometimes too, people just don't call them on it. And then if you're at
right,
courtside and no one's calling you, then everyone can do it at courtside because no one's calling it. But you're going to go to Lifetime and get into Lifetime has all those tournaments going around now. You're going to
yeah.
sign for a tournament at Lifetime, and they'll be like, "No, it's an illegal serve." And now you have to redo your serve. Would have to like redo your golf
That's
swing.
tough. Yes, that is
Yeah.
really tough. That happened once with my stronger group of women. One of them was out, so we had a sub, and she was very, very good, but she was serving from the side,
Mm-hmm.
and and nobody was calling her on it.
Yeah.
And so finally, I said, "Has nobody called you on serving from the side?" And she goes, "No, my I think whoever she trains with said, that I can hit like that." I said, "Wow,
It's
I
kind of like driving on the double yellow. Yeah,
okay."
maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. You
But she
know.
never came back and played with us, so I think
Oh.
I think she did not take that so well. So
Aw, that's too bad because I wish
yeah,
that the club pros would do a better job just
of
giving
calling.
free
Yeah,
advice, just saying, "Hey,
yeah,
just so you know," because there's this guy Raleigh at the club I work at. And another one named Rodell, and they seem to before and after their clinics, they kind of walk around and watch you play. So we're all on our best behavior, you know. You could hear him say, "Get up to the net," like you could hear him kind of chirping at us,
yeah,
like, "What are you doing?" And they just kind of walk around and give free coaching advice,
yeah,
waiting for the next clinic to start. I think it's so smart because it builds trust. It makes
yeah,
you like them, and they're giving free content, which is amazing.
yeah,
They're giving like free advice, and we take their clinics anyway whenever they have one that matter to us. So,
yeah.
yeah, it's just interesting how people don't. I mean, I get it too, but I think my toxic trait is I'll say, "Hey, I don't think that serves legal," and then it'll make someone mad, and but I didn't with this girl because I don't if I just had just met her, so it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, maybe
so.
not.
Well, today we're going to talk about, it's so funny. When I first moved here, I started playing at Courtside Kitchen. They had this Monday night margarita tournaments. They were so much fun. And it was like mixed play. So my son and I would go and play. And I met this man named John Taylor. And then it's nice when you meet people. I met him and his wife, Natalie. And then I'm at church and I'm in a new church, I don't know anybody. And I run into them and they're not even from Parker County. So I ran into them at church and John's like, when are you going to do something on Tennis Elbow? I'm like, you know what, John? We're now taking requests.
Today's
So
the day.
today's the day. So
Yeah, tennis elbow.
Tammy Lee is going to take it to the max with this because I can add some things, but this is really a true, more a master's degree in kinesiology. Like,
Well,
what do we need to know and how do we need to
I'm
do
going
it?
to keep it very layman's term.
Okay.
But, it's interesting because it does. There's many things that injury comes from besides tennis.
Oh
Of
yeah.
course, now pickleball. But basically, it's the swelling of tendons from in your forearm that has been overused, maybe too soon. And so you get this pain right along here. And it's actually the extensor carpa radius brevis. We abbreviate it an ECRB. And it's connected down here to your middle finger, drives on up, and it's connected to the top of the humerus right here. So even just gripping something or turning has this a pain there. And so if you think about when you're gripping your racket, you're gripping, and that in itself hurts. And then if you're rotating, that's putting pressure on it.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it's an overuse, it's the swelling, the inflammation, it's doing something improper. So you're again, it's like if you're making a certain serve and you're creating something, you can be creating this, tendon issue. But it can also happen with like plumbers, anybody that's using their
Oh yeah.
wrist really, like any
Yeah.
of this. So so the most important thing with this is when you go to rehab it, it's all really in the wrist here, most of it. But at the wrist, you know how we always connect the dots, the wrist, the elbow, and the shoulder. So we kind of put them all together, but I'm just going to show you some things that we would do normally with the wrist itself. But
You know what's interesting is I've had tennis elbow a couple times. Never played tennis in my life. And this is before pickleball. I got it when I was
where did you
traveling
have
all the
from?
time.
Yeah.
Dragging luggage around the
Luggage.
airport, dragging luggage. Yeah.
Yeah. So think about this. If you're dragging it, you're rotating, okay?
Yep.
And away. So it's a kind of that rotation motion, and then your palm away. So you create this with the resistance. It's an overload. And typically you're going to have a rest. It needs a rest. And if you don't do the rest, and while you're resting, you also need rehab. So, or prehab as we call it.
Right.
And some of these exercises as well as stretches can help rehabilitate it a little bit faster. But it's people like us that go, no, I'm not going to stay off the court.
Why
But
would I?
You're going to have some rest. You can take some ibuprofen. You can do, I think you mentioned a sleeve, right?
Yeah.
Somebody
So my girlfriend
recommended the
Danielle
sleeve.
talked about something called the freeze sleeve, and you stick it in the freezer when you're done playing pickleball. You pull the sleeve on over, and we'll link that in the show notes so you can go check it out. But it goes over your sleeve like like a elbow sleeve, and it's frozen. So I thought
like a compress,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And then I also used and when I got my tennis elbow also, it was from not pickleball. It was from my weight selection. So my grip strength is not as strong as my shoulder strength and as my lower body strength. So what would happen was I'd use Bowflex weights, and the way the weight was distributed. Hello, all the tricky words. The way the weight was I can't say the word today. Distributed. Just hard. It was like heavier weights on the longer end of the weights. So if you're doing a bicep curl, the weight was like distributed longer. It was when you move the lever up, it was on the outside of the lever.
Yes.
So that's how that happened. So what I ended up doing was I know. Getting a whole new set of weights, like, 10 through 25s. And
Yeah.
then I can use the 30s and the 40s for whatever I want to use, like deadlifts or whatever. But to move that weight, that's how I got the tendonitis, was
Yeah.
my weight selection. Like I could do the weights, but the weight is not ergonomically correct.
Yeah. And that can happen, but those are also tools that you can do to strengthen that.
Yes.
But
Yep.
but we overdo it.
I
So
got ahead of it. Yep.
yes. So you got ahead too much resistance. Actually, I grabbed my little weight here. So the thing that I like to do is I will put them in a 90 degree, or you can
Mm-hmm.
even have your wrist or your forearm set on your thigh. And basically what you're going to be doing is you're doing this rotate extension and
Mm-hmm.
flexion.
What
So
she's doing is a wrist curl. So catch us
yeah,
on
can you
YouTube and
see
it'll be on our
this?
Instagram page. Yep, I
Yeah,
can see it.
I'll make one up. But
Yep.
so it's both the positive, negative, or
Mm-hmm.
concentric, and then eccentric, turning it this way, working
Mm-hmm.
both, supine position, and
Mm-hmm.
then turning it from side to side,
Mm-hmm.
but doing it slow. So if you had a little bit heavier weight, I think this is a 3 pounder, but if
Mm-hmm.
you had heavier weight, you help it up and then you eccentric, slowly lower it back
Got
down.
it.
Another one is if you place it here up on your knee, this one will involve a little bit of the shoulder. So
Mm.
rotating it down,
Oh,
dropping,
that's
bringing it back
okay.
up,
Yeah, check this
rotating
out on Instagram
down,
because this is really cool. I've never seen this
drop
one.
down, and bringing it back up. Because remember I said
That
this.
emulates a good hit in pickleball too. That little bend. Yeah, like the swoop through what you're doing, like what you're doing
Mhm.
with your wrist is a pickleball move.
Yeah, and you need your wrist.
Yeah,
That's the thing that I'm learning about pickleball is that not every shot is wristy. I
right.
mean, it depends on what you're doing. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
doing, a spin, which I'm still learning all this,
Me
but
too.
I think it helps knowing the anatomy of your body and how it operates,
Mm-hmm.
and implementing implementing the move. The other
Mm-hmm.
thing that I like to do, sorry, it was across my desk here, is I'll take the bands. I'm
Mm-hmm.
huge on the bands. And again, I'll make up a video of this, but it's just you can take the bands, holding it with both hands, and then externally rotate from the shoulder joint. So you keep the
Mm.
arms straight and you're pressing them
Yep.
out. Um, or you can do this with this down on the floor. So you're stepping on it and then doing this.
Okay.
Okay.
So she's basically demonstrating a bicep or a wrist curl with the tubing, which was different than the weights, which I appreciate both of them because both are so different.
Well, and again, you can take this everywhere. This is
Right.
always in my bag. But the when you were talking about how you did your tennis elbow with the weights, so this is if I hold it this way, now I've created a little bit different distributed
Yes.
of the resistance. So
Yeah.
you want to try all different ones.
I like that because that's exactly what happened was the distribution of the weight was so far from the center, from
Right.
the
So it wasn't
vector.
balanced.
Right, right. So
Hmm.
it kept getting worse and kept getting worse, and I finally realized it's got to be these weights. It's got to be
Yeah,
the weights. And one thing that happened too is I've had frozen. Wait till we get to the shoulder. I'm gonna be the
I know.
expert on that.
Okay.
I've had frozen shoulder twice, both arms. One was
Oh.
from a snowboarding injury. I had a torn labrum, and my second was from my desk not being ergonomically correct. And
Hmm.
I kind of had my arm behind me, and I was sliding my mouse back and forth. But both times when I had frozen shoulder, the pain started in my tendons in my elbow. It was what do they call it, referral pain. So I kept thinking I
Mm.
had like tendon. I kept wanting to go to the doctor and say it hurts right here, but then 2 months later, my shoulder was completely frozen. I had referral pain. So I mean, the arm is
Yeah.
so. I mean, it's almost like wet toilet paper. I say the shoulder is wet toilet paper, but definitely that tendon there, that little area by your elbow is it's very particular.
Yeah. Well, all of them. I mean, from your fingers, all of your fingers. I mean, they play a role. That's why
Yeah.
that grip, and then anything that you're rotating, flexion, supinating, goes right up the forearm, into the elbow, into the shoulder, and then
Yep.
the trap in the back. So it just spins off of each other. And that's why you got to nail it. As soon as you know what
Yep.
that is, you've got to take care of it before it moves up the body.
That's the part of the prehab that we're so passionate about, because if you feel it coming on, because mine's not bad enough to make me stop playing, that I am working. I do the exercises. I do the stretches. I have a Theragun. I use the
Yeah.
Theragun on my right, not on my forearm, not on my elbow, because that hurt. I've done that before and accidentally hit
Yeah.
your funny bone. But like really using that Theragun right in the meaty part of my forearm, it helps tremendously because it does give it some relief, and of course
Yeah.
massaging it, but taking care of it before. Because what's going to happen is you feel it when you grip, get a little pinch there, you feel a little
Yeah.
bit. And what's going to happen is eventually you won't be able to hit. Every time you hit the ball, it's going to hurt
Hurt.
because the pressure
Yeah.
of the ball against the
Yeah.
paddle will add just that extra oomph and it'll radiate right to your elbow.
Yeah. Some of the other things that you can do is, besides the prehab or the rehab, is the injections, which you and I know.
Yeah.
I just recently had some in my knees. That will take some of it off, but you got to be aware of injections. It's like a Band-Aid. So it's saying, let me cover you and you're fine, but you're really not fine, because
Right.
it still needs rehabilitation. You've got to build up those muscles
Yep.
and the things that support it. So be really careful with that. One of the things that I always where I send my clients when they have anything that's muscle related or tendon related is TheraLaser. And
Okay.
TheraLaser is, most all of the professional teams have them now, but it's this laser that penetrates down to a cellular level, and it starts to heal whatever is going on there,
Okay.
like immediately. So if you have any inflammation, here in San Diego, when it was brought in, I had just ripped my hamstring, and my girlfriend's daughter's like, no, I just got this in. Come, I'll take care of you. She got me up walking within a week.
Nice.
And by the time that the insurance approved my MRI, it had already started to reconnect. And the
Okay.
doctor's like, look, if I go in there, I have to cut all that, and it's going to be
Right.
another 6 months. I'm like, oh, no, thank you.
Right.
So here, she calls it Helios. It's called Helios.
Okay.
And you read about it, but it's this laser that penetrates nice and deep, and it will get you dissolve some of that inflammation that you have. That's one that I really like. Of course, you can ice. You've got to do your exercises and rest.
Yeah. Yeah. The rest part is probably the most important and the one that we skip over.
Yeah.
We're more quick to quick over the rest or skip over the rest. But I do think it's important, like you said, if you're going to go, and I am not anti-cortisone shot, because I did them in my shoulders. I did it in my left shoulder the first time, and it was a miracle drug. It allowed me to rehab my shoulder, because with frozen shoulder, you can't lift it up. You can't lift your arm above your head. So because it hurt too, it's too painful. So the cortisone shot helped me do that. The second cortisone shot in my other arm didn't do anything for me. It gave me zero relief. So it's funny sometimes. Yeah, you just don't know what you're going to get. But the whole idea was get the cortisone shot and don't go back to your same way of life. The cortisone shot is giving you an opportunity to clean up the mess you created.
Yeah.
Why did this happen?
Yeah, and you don't want to depend on those.
Yeah, no. It's a Band-Aid. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a blister, so you can still wear your shoes, but you're gonna act probably not the shoes that gave you the blister though. You know, like if the heel gave you a blister, you're not gonna put the heels back on. So don't go back to your old way of life. Really work on figuring out how it happened and how you can make it better. And these are some great solutions.
Yep.
Perfect. All right, you have. Oh, before we do trivia, I have not been following it really well, but I saw that Serena is jumping into the pickleball circuit. Did you see that?
Yeah, I heard that.
It's a whole different level.
Imagine coming against her.
No. First of all, we were talking about when you play doubles. Yeah. My girlfriend Kim's like, I mean, I'm a great doubles player, but I'm not going to be the one that I'm not the partner that'll win it for you. I'm your backup dancer. If you ever have Serena as your partner, she will be just I formation, stand back and let her go. Can you imagine? I hope her and her sister get into it.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be beautiful. I know.
Well, I think professional volleyball players that are getting into it, oh my goodness, for them to come down and
No
slam it,
kidding. No
I've
kidding.
never seen it so hard
You know
with
what the
one of the
dream would be
volleyball
for
players.
us if volleyball players get into it is we really start to focus on the lob.
Yes.
Just the lob. We were
Yeah.
playing today and it was so windy out. My lobs were like blowing out. I'm like, okay, what am I
Yeah.
thinking? The wind is like 40-mile-an-hour gusts and
And
I'm
it's
trying to
worse up
lob.
there.
It's
It's worse when you're
terrible.
lobbing. It's like,
It's
wait a minute,
terrible.
it's all over. Yeah.
But the dream would be that a lob becomes like the shot for everyone. Like everyone should just get down to the lob, dinking and lobbing, just dinking and lobbing.
Yeah. Well, there's a great appreciation for people that know really how to lob because you're up
Yes.
there and you're ready for it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, and for someone like me that goes, my knees are, oh man, I have to
My
run back
I
there.
talk about her every week, Rachel. We call it the Rachel lob. Not,
Yeah.
remember the Rachel Bob back in the 90s? This is
Yeah.
the Rachel
The
lob.
Rachel lob.
The
Oh,
Rachel
I like
lob. And
that.
I watched her play in interleague this week, and we're not in our proper group for interleague play. Like they're all way better than we are. We're like I think I told you, like the misfits. But we're
Yeah.
happy. Everyone says we're fun. We're
That's
fun.
important. That's right.
It's like that's like the guy with the good personality. Like he's got a good personality.
Yeah.
So, but I went and I watched Rachel, and she was playing against almost 4.0 players, and she was getting them with her lob. She was getting them with her lob.
Wow.
I
That's
mean, at the
awesome.
net, it's hard to beat them. It's hard to beat them with their slams. But if she could
Yeah.
get the lob, she lands that bad boy at the back of the court, right on the line. Like there is nothing you could do. Like, damn.
Well, and speaking of line,
All right.
our trivia today is when one partner calls the ball out and the other partner calls it in, what is it?
Oh gosh. I don't. I'm trying to keep the emotions out of it. So I would have to err on the side of the other team then. So if they're going to be their point, I see it as in, and my partner sees it as out. I would have to go with it being in. I would want to err on the side of the other team to be
Mhm.
fair. So that's just my emotional take. I don't know what the rule is.
Yeah. So the rule is it will be in because
Okay.
it's benefit of the doubt. If it was that close
Hmm.
and sportsmanship. So
Yeah.
yeah, if one, and that happens, it happened this past week with us. One called it in, the other one called it out, and it's got to be in.
Yeah.
That's what
I
it's
would
going to
always
be.
err on the side of the other team. First of all, I'm not playing for money. And I want to play with them again next week. And you do not want, listen, dinking's not a warm up. And also, you don't want to be the person that's always calling them in your favor.
Yeah.
There's nothing, and we all know who those players are. We all have them around us. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's not fun. And
Now
they want to argue it.
I have to say, and I'm not naming because the girls always say, "Who you
I know. Who
talking
are you
about
talking
this
about? I
week?"
know. I
I
name them.
know.
I
I know
name
you
them.
do. I
You're
give
like
them
you're
funny
like the
names.
gazelle and the cheerleader and the ballerina, and I'm like, it was
Yes.
Rachel, it was Kimmy, it was Val.
But when if the score is really tight, I will notice some less better. I mean, the calls are worse,
Yeah,
and they're.
yeah,
I mean, if it's close, they're not going to give it to you.
yeah.
They're
That's
not giving
probably
it to
true.
you.
I
Yeah.
did play with a girl, and this was a super great girl, and she's very confident when she calls them out. Like she's like, finger up. She's like, it's out. It's like she's so confident. I'm like, ah, oh, ah. And she's like, you got to make a decision. I'm like, I don't know. She's like, you can't do that. And she was a
Yeah.
D1 athlete, and I appreciate her so much. She's like, you can't do that. You need to make a decision. If you think it was in, you have
Yeah.
to call it in. And I'm like trying to be the piece of, well, I don't want to make them mad. And she's like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did
But
learn a
see,
lot from her. Like,
if you're thinking, so I always if when I'm doing it and it was too close to call, it's in.
okay,
If it
that's
was,
fair.
it's got to be out. If it's too
Yeah.
close to call, it's an in ball.
Yeah,
And a
that's
lot of
fair.
times I'm thinking I bet you that was out, but you know what? I couldn't with full confidence say
Yeah.
out.
And that's why the
So
partner is so important. When you're back at the baseline, why your partner's so important, because like they're serving to me and I'm honestly just trying to let it bounce and hit it back. And those ones that are on that baseline, the serves are hard to
Yeah,
see. You need
they
your partner
are.
to you need your partner to
Yes.
have your, because I can't call it. I'm so focused on just trying to hit the
I'm
dang ball.
always when I watch the serve because especially it depends on who's serving.
Uh-huh.
When I know
Yes.
it's somebody that is either hitting the line or it's out, I will always watch for my partner because
Yep.
it's hard because you got to let the ball bounce first.
Yep. And your brain, and
And there's
then
been
there's no room.
yeah, there's
Like there's no
and
room.
you
Like
got to let it bounce. And was like, and they're like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, but I had to let it bounce first." Or the person that calls it out and the ball hasn't bounced yet.
right, right, right. You know, you just said something that triggered me. Are you sure? And I've heard people
Yeah.
say, "Are you sure?" And it's kind of
Yes.
it's tongue in cheek, but it's not. It's tongue in cheek, but also it's like saying, "Just kidding." It's like, no, you
Yeah.
meant what you said. You're questioning my judgment. When someone says, "Are
Yes.
you sure?" And the best part about that is the
Oh
next
my
hit
God.
normally goes to our favor. So it's like, the ball doesn't lie. If I called it out
Bull,
and it was in the next time, I'll tell you what, it's
yeah.
going to go your way. Trust me. The ball don't lie.
Bulldog Row in our group, she says that all the time. Are you sure? Are you sure? But she's just trying to, ruffle
Oh yeah.
feathers. But
Well, some people and they're good about getting in people's head too.
yeah.
Well, I think I told you like uh, one girl we played against stands so close to the kitchen in the corner. So if I'm back and my partner's up, that partner is standing like right at the 2 points, as close as they can get. Oh, it drives Valerie crazy. She's like, it just drives me crazy. I'm like, well, now they
Okay.
know. Like now she's going to
It
stand there and
drives
lean
me
over.
crazy because people are always stepping in. Like they'll step in
Uh
barely,
huh.
but they're clearly over the line
Mm-hmm.
and they drag their foot back. So they don't think that they were in the kitchen.
Oh no.
And I'm like, you guys call your, and usually I'll just let it pass because it used to
Yeah.
bug me all the time. And it still kind of bugs me, but there's so many that will step in the kitchen and they won't call it on themselves. But I don't think that they know because they're
Right.
just in that action
Yeah.
and then they drag that foot back and it's like, no, you were in the kitchen. You
It is
can't
funny
do
though
that.
about the kitchen. Like when you start playing at a higher, and I'm not at a high level, by the way, I'm just like your average intermediate player. But even intermediate players, we don't pay attention to the kitchen anymore because you make an assumption everyone knows the rules and everyone stays out of the kitchen. But I told my partner last week, I said, "Hey, watch the kitchen because those balls are coming back so fast that I think there's the kitchen involved," and it was. It's like, but
Yeah.
you don't pay attention anymore because you're more worried about just getting the ball and returning the ball. It's like, but wait a
Right.
second. When it comes back, when it comes back a certain way.
Yep.
When they step and they hit in the kitchen, it comes back because their paddle's right next to the net. I mean, so you don't have
Yeah.
stand a chance to get the ball. So,
Yeah.
well, this was fun, Tammy Lee. Thanks for the help on the tennis elbow. Okay, that's something we all need to focus on because that is probably the easiest injury to get and
Yeah.
one of the easiest ones to prevent.
Yeah.
Don't and I push my luggage now. Now I have four. Now I just push my luggage. I don't have to ever drag it behind me, ever.
Yeah.
And also, also too really quick is, when I'm on my phone, and I have my phone in my hand, my elbows are bent. I think a lot of time too, it's just shortening the lever, shortening the muscles. When
Oh,
you're yeah, when your arm is bent,
mhm.
those muscles are shortened all day holding your phone. And
Yeah.
then when you sleep at night, if you tuck your arm in, I was thinking of
Yep.
all the ways that I get it.
Yeah.
Like I sleep with my arm tucked in, so my arm is tucked in. The muscles are shortened all night, and I
Yep.
wake up in the morning. You got to lengthen them. So this was great.
Yep. Yep.
Appreciate it.
Good.
Hey,
We'll get a
follow
video
us
up on
on
it.
Instagram. Yes, I'll put it on Instagram, and our Instagram account is growing, which I love. And when you're a new business, like I don't expect it to grow overnight, but we're getting a good. We're getting good followers every single day, more and more, which I love. And it's onepickleballprehab.com. I say .com on Instagram because I'm just tired.
You
Maybe
don't need it. Yeah.
I don't need a
.com.
.com, but follow us there, and on our YouTube page, we put our videos on both places, so you can find the videos on the Instagram page and on the YouTube page. And we'd love to have you share it because knowledge is power. Sharing is caring.
Yeah.
All
Awesome.
right, thanks, guys. Have a good week.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.